everybody. Welcome to the Pink Riot Comic Show. This is Keisha, aka Hot Havoc. How are you guys? I
And
have
it's
my
your girl,
lovely.
Breeze Bookish, aka
Yep.
Variant Vixen. And today
Oh,
there's a lot of excitement, like
oh,
beyond what we normally bring to the table because we're coming through with some special guests. How y'all feel about that?
yes. Oh my goodness. I'm just seeing the number. This is awesome. How are y'all doing? All right. I I'm actually at a loss for words right now, so I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you talk, Bree, while I
All
set
right.
everything up.
Yeah, so we like to support black and brown stories, and one that has impacted us tremendously is the Parable series by Octavia E. Butler. So it was just natural for us to lean towards the graphic adaptations done by John Jennings, Damian Duffy, and David Brame. We've enjoyed them thoroughly. So when the opportunity arose to highlight this particular story in this format, it was a no-brainer. And our girl Keisha is on her big one because she was like, you know what? The next date that appears in the series is coming up. It wouldn't be us if we didn't try to reach out and collab with them. And they're such cool people, like that they
Yeah,
agreed to come. So that's what we're
we're
doing here today. Wanting to talk about the story, wanting to share about it, and then giving everybody a cute little reminder, to get those pre-orders in because we want to support
that's
these
how we help.
creators. Yeah, so that more of these stories come out. So like we're going to introduce them in a hot second, but I want to just take this time to thank them and thank our friends at Sister Sci-Fi for supporting this event. They've been kind enough to allow us a promo code. It's Pink Riot in one word. If you use that code, it will get you a discount on ordering the Parable of the Sower graphic adaptation and pre-ordering the Parable of the Talents graphic adaptation. So make sure that you run and go cop that from them. We love Sister Sci-Fi and everything that they do. We also want to give a big shout out to Abrams Comics Art for making this possible and supporting us in this endeavor. They have like so many great titles that we've enjoyed as well, but this is like the peak. So without further ado, we want to introduce our special guests and get them on in here. So,
Yes,
Keisha.
we're gonna start with the writer, adaptation writer, Damian Duffy. We have our artist, John Jennings and David Brame. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, how you doing? What's up,
Okay,
Brame?
so before we get
So I'm
into
telling you
it,
know how I do.
we have
something
we
light.
We have a question in the chat. Is this going to be recorded? This will be recorded. This is going to permanently live on YouTube. So we understand if you have to go, you could always watch this later. But like for those who are staying with us, I'm loving this. We have some people over here on Instagram. We have people on Twitch and we have people on YouTube. This is awesome.
We'll be doing question and answers for like the last 15 minutes. So if you have a question that you want to ask, drop it in the chat and we'll try to keep up with them and pick the ones that are most relevant to our conversation to ask them towards the end. So yeah, don't be shy. Drop those questions, guys.
Yes, yes. All right. So without further ado, um, the three of y'all are just legends. In my eyes, y'all are legends. Yes, yes. Don't shake your head, John. I'm so serious. Y'all are legends.
I stopped. I was like,
So if I fumble my questions, please know it's because I've been fangirling for quite some time. Like Bree said, this has been like months in the making. So like, yes, just letting y'all know that ahead of time.
Thank you.
well, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's for good reason. Like it's one thing to admire someone and their work from afar, but then to actually have the opportunity to converse with you in real time, it's absolutely an honor. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time to just give us your time and give us your thoughts. So yeah, don't think nobody take it lightly because this is iconic. It's a vibe.
Especially
Yeah, no,
working.
thank you for having us. For real. Like, it's an honor for us to be on the show.
Definitely, definitely.
Damian Duffy just said that.
Right?
What?
Y'all are hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, so like, okay, Keisha is very like studious about her approach to things, but I like to go rogue sometimes. And so I'd love for each of you guys to introduce yourself and say 2 things that you think people should know about you, because all of you have like a laundry list of things we could talk about, but we want to hear what 2 things you think people should take away from this if they didn't know, by some miracle didn't know who you were before they tuned in today.
All
And
right.
we'll start with Damian.
Okay. Let's see. Hey, I'm Damian. That's not one of the 2 things because my name's there. So I'm a cartoonist, graphic novelist, and I guess that's one. The other one would be right now I'm a adjunct professor at University of Illinois. I don't know if I even wanted that to be the second one. I have regrets now. Oh well, what I got.
It's your world. We're living in it. If you want to throw one more on there, we'll totally take it.
I can't think of anything else right now.
It's all good. All right, David, how about you?
Yeah, I'm David Brame. I guess the 2 things for me are I guess right now I live in Alaska and I like to ski a lot.
Hey.
I told you. I was like,
Yeah, right.
I was joking. I said, man, he probably hanging tan somewhere on some snow.
Yeah, I should be outside, but I can do some indoor stuff for a while.
All
Okay.
right. He put his board away for this conversation, y'all. So count yourselves
Right.
lucky.
I thought he would just be on the board, like you see some mountains.
Yeah, I know,
rolling
it's like-
past
Yeah,
in the
he's like,
background.
got his GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like some manga lines going.
Yeah.
Like,
That is hilarious. Okay, and John, how about you?
okay. My name is John Jennings. Well, you know what? That's well, it's again.
That
it's right
doesn't
there.
count. That's a
It doesn't
freebie.
count.
Doesn't
Okay, it's a
count as your
freebie.
things.
Okay. So one of the things I would love to tell folk is that I am a co-founder of the Black Comic Book Festival in Harlem at the Schomburg. So that's one thing. And also I'm a professor of media and cultural studies at the University of California at Riverside. And I teach like courses on Afrofuturism and Black horror and politics and the Black superhero.
Period. See? I feel
Like-
like that's better than any intro we could have given.
I don't know. I think y'all
I
probably could
understand.
have did. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying for those in the chat, y'all don't understand. Like the resumes here are stacked. We have
Yeah.
Eisner winners. We have Hugo. We have like Ignite. Like you guys have done so much in the realm of comics. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I guess we will get into our questions, and I guess it starts with, how did you bring this team together? I know that Damian and John, y'all have been working together for quite a while. Like you guys have co-created Whole Consumer Culture, you co-edited Black Comics, Black Comics Return, Out of Sequence, Underrepresented Voices in American Comics. So what made you guys decide, hey, we're going to adapt Butler's works and bring this team together? And don't worry, I do have a question for you, David.
I mean, I guess I can start.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say nothing.
No, I thought
like-
I just like to check.
I was like, go.
Shut up. No, okay. Yeah, so no, we've always been fans of Butler's work, obviously. And we actually tell this story a lot, but we actually tried to adapt Kindred like a previous time, not with Abrams, but with a publisher a few years before Abrams got the rights to it. And we ended up not getting that job. And then luckily it sort of came back around to us through Abrams Comic Arts. So, you know, in that sense, it was kind of like, there it is. Oh. It's kind of like that one it shows us in a weird way.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, like initially we were really interested in adapting Octavia Butler because not just because we're fans of her work and her genius, but also a lot of the work John and I were doing, both with like the whole consumer culture and some of the comic art shows we were curating, were very much about similar stuff, like race, gender identity, and like sort of how it affects culture, and using, you know, science fiction, or Kindred is technically fantasy, to talk about those issues in a way that was like honest, so it was meaningful. So that I mean, I think that's what initially drew us to trying to do the work, and then it was just, thinking that we had enough skills and knowledge about comics and kind of dedication to using comics as a medium to do the things comics is unique in, can do as a medium. All that I think came together, and luckily we were able to, adapt Kindred in a way that people enjoyed, and that helped bring new readers, or I guess returning readers to Butler's work.
Just to kind of piggyback right quick, Damian said this, but I definitely want to reiterate is a lot of our work, because we started off in like independent publishing. Both of us were independent publishers working on our own stuff, and then we found just a lot of overlap in our own ethos around comics, and then also both of us were burgeoning into like becoming like comic scholars as well, and our work started out as curatorial, what I'm saying, as far as like really trying to uplift like comics as a medium and not just like the genre based stuff, and so our early work was like really experimental. We were doing stuff with like virtual comics. We were doing a lot of gallery comics, and spent a lot of time like trying to figure out how to actually edify the form, so to speak, so people could see it better. It was a totally different thing, and then that's actually how we ended up segueing into doing comics like this for like larger trade publishers and stuff. But it really was the initial like research stuff that actually like drew us into it, and both of us, like Damian said, were like fans of Octavia's work. And I think like by the time we ended up doing this, I had started working on like Afrofuturist work too. So her work permeates like every aspect of that too. So that's what I would say.
Yes. And I know that the two of you started with Parable. I mean, you worked on Parable of the Sowers, and then you brought in David Brame, Parable of the Talents. So knowing that both John and David worked on After the Brain together, which, can I say one, David, I love the artwork in here. This was amazing. And this is Eisner winner. Like, this comic got me into horror and made me realize, oh, I can read horror in comics.
Yeah, Eisner nominated. We got robbed, but it's okay. I'm sorry.
Y'all did
It's all right.
because this was
it was the same year that 1984 came out. So
yeah. It's
So
I got a
this
funny
one got
story about that. I was like, yeah, that was the
this
same
was
year,
absolutely
1984.
phenomenal. But
Yeah.
like, what was it coming back and working together, not only with John but with Damian on Parable of the Talents, coming off of like the wins, the Ignite and the Hugo win for Parable of the Sower?
was that a question for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Or like,
Oh,
what
okay,
was
yeah.
it like coming back?
Well, yeah, like I guess I would say we've been collaborating since maybe like 2010 or 2011, something like that. And because I was an academic as well, so I was teaching at Ryerson University at the time that I met John, and we just like we had a beer and we like Stacey Robinson was there, and we just like geeked out on comics culture, Afrofuturism, all that kind of stuff, and it was like, oh, we're all in love, so we'll just like hang out for forever and make comics
Oh, I
together.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like yeah, that's kind of what happened is like essentially we just started with a bunch of smaller collaborations, and every time we worked together it was just like we were just pushing each other into new realms of creativity, and then getting to the like Parable of Talents. Yeah, they had made Parable of the Sower, and then we were running up to they were running up to some deadlines, and I'm extremely fast, and they wanted to see if I could draw 300 pages in like 7 months.
Nice.
And I did. or how many ever it was.
Lex, we love to see it
Right.
too.
But it's not,
Yeah,
it's, it's not
You did
hyperbolic at
amazing.
all, though.
yeah, like
You
that
did
just.
amazing.
I mean, we worked together. That was like that's the best thing is like we figured out when you work with people who are also extremely intelligent and you don't have to like and who are extremely talented and geniuses themselves, like you don't have to have a preamble, to how you want things to work, you know, and you're also versatile yourself enough, like all of us, all three of us, and where we can. We can fix things. We can move things around. We
Yep.
can just say, okay, I'll make that work, and it still works out to be fantastic. So like, we just have like a wonderful working relationship and collaboration, and it's like that's how we keep making beautiful stuff.
Yes, we love to see it. I can identify with this because that's how I feel about my co-host. Period.
Oh.
When you work well with somebody and they already know what they're doing, it's just a vibe. Period. So we love to hear that.
Oh, you think I
Okay.
know what I'm doing? That's so sweet.
We both know just enough about what we're doing to make up for it. Okay. So my question for you guys, this is to all three of you, and we'll decide who wants to go first. But my question is, where were you and what was your first impression the first time that you read the Parable series? And I'll start with David.
I guess I was in my room.
Okay, maybe I should have specified like where were you in life?
Yeah.
I was in my room. That was hilarious.
Until I was asked to. I'd read other stuff from Octavia, but I hadn't read the Parable series. And so, I guess it was a few years ago, hanging out in my room, and John was like, "Hey, have you heard of this?" And I was like, "Oh, I know who Octavia is. You should check this out." So then, like, I read it, and then it's life changing. It's horrifying. It's like I don't want to say emotionally debilitating, but it's also emotionally uplifting as well. But like, yeah. It was like, yeah. My daughter was like, "Why are you crying, Daddy?"
Wow.
I'm like, so like, yeah. That's when it happened. So that was like, whatever. Yeah, a couple years ago.
I feel you on that. We're like vibing right now because my first time reading it was also a couple years ago. I actually read the graphic adaptation of Parable of the Sower before I actually read Parable of the Sower. So
Really?
yeah.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
I know this shocking awe from everybody. Like you, I had read other Butler books, but that one was one where I was pre-warned, like, don't sit with it until you're ready to sit with it. So I did, but I was like, the graphics should be fine. It still hits, guys.
Yeah, it does. It does. Still hits.
Yeah. That's because Damian adapted the hell out of it. That's why.
Thank you.
We're actually going to get into that in our next question, but I want to hear from John. Where were you in life when you first read the Parable series, and what was your first impression?
Well, I actually had read some of her other work. Sower, I really didn't read until we had agreed to adapt it. Which was what, a few years ago, like 5 years ago, 4 years. I don't even remember. 5 years ago.
Well, we pitched it when Kindred came out. It's like 2017.
Yeah, because what happened was like when the book came out, and I guess Kindred was successful and stuff. They were like, "Hey, what else do you want to do?" And this is like, and this is actually like right before 45 version 1 was coming into office. You know what I'm saying? And then we were like, you know what? Yeah, we should probably do this. And took it upon ourselves, like Octavia did, to kind of to deal with the heaviness of it, as David was saying. So I think I read it probably around the time that we started pitching it, so I could start to familiarize myself with it. So so a few years ago, maybe like Damian said, 2017 or so. Yeah, and you know, Parable of Sower is a rough book. I mean, it's like Octavia in general doesn't necessarily write the most. Her stuff is real,
Yeah.
you know, right?
Yeah.
So, there's no like sugarcoating to any of the scenarios that happen in her stories. And yeah, and Parable of Talents is even realer. You know what I'm saying? So it's just yeah, and as David said, it's like there's parts that are uplifting, but it's also like a lot of heavy lifting emotionally for channeling that type of narrative, you know? So yeah, anyway.
Absolutely. How about you, Damian?
I read it. It was earlier than that. I think it might have been before we got the job to do Kindred. Actually, it was like in between the first time we tried to get Kindred in like 2009 ish, and when we actually got it in like 2012, 2013. And I know it was after my son was born. So I'm gonna say 2010, 2011, something like that. And it's not totally accurate to say that's when I read maybe 100 pages of it, and then I couldn't, like, I had to put it down
Yeah.
because it scared me too much. Just because, like, you know, like John and David are saying, like it's hard, and it's real to the point of hurting you, right? Like, and especially having a one young child. Like I have two kids, but this was before the second one was born, I think. Because the book is so much about parents being not able to help their children. I mean, the series is about parents not being able to help their children when world events conspire against them. It really upset me in a visceral way, and in a different way from other Octavia Butler books I'd read. And I think probably because it was so like, oh yeah, this is where we're headed. Like, this makes perfect sense, unfortunately. So yeah, and then I like the fact that it scared me so much. You know, I went back, I don't know, a couple years later and finished it, and then we pitched. So I knew enough about those books from having read Sower to know that it was really the next one we should do, because 2017. And then I hadn't actually read or finished reading Talents when we pitched doing both books. And I was like, but well, surely Talents can't be like darker than Sower.
Yeah.
Stupid thing to think.
Yeah, that was
like, this is
I was
like,
ooh,
yeah.
That was quite the awakening when you got to book 2, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. There's the whole Camp Christian part. That was about when I was just like, oh, we're gonna draw this too. Like, you know, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was when I came to that particular book, and now we're living in it, and I don't know how I feel about that. But
I definitely understand. There were several times in Parable of the Talents where I had to, even in the graphic novel, like as beautiful as y'all did it, I had to put it down like every 50 so pages. Like, all right, let me go play Candy Crush or something. Like,
yeah, mental health breaks. You know, you just got to deal with some fluff to like give yourself time and space to fully process it. I love that all of you had different relationships with your first read of it and how you interpreted it. But I'd also love to hear, like, what was it like for you? Because I know that the first book came out and then there was like a nice little chunk of time afterwards. And I feel like I know why. This is why I'm hitting with this question. How was it for you adapting Parable of the Talents graphic adaptation amidst the peak of the pandemic? Because I'll say that reading the Parable series during the peak of the pandemic was rough for me because I'm like, this is not giving far-flung future speculative. This is what's happening right now. So when Keisha said she, you know, had to take the breaks and had to take the time, like, it took me a hot little minute, and I was blessed to have my book club. Like, we did a Butler readathon. We read all of her books together. So I had community to like digest it with, which I think is like, I would highly recommend to anybody. So I'm just curious, like, how did experiencing our current hellscape impact your adaptation of book 2?
Well, so I started writing Talents. It was before even the Sower adaptation came out, and I finished the script for Talents in early March 2020, so like right before the lockdowns hit. And I finished it I was in Pasadena. John and I were in Pasadena. We were talking at the Huntington Library where Octavia's personal papers are.
Wow.
And this was when Sower was coming out, I guess. Yeah. And then I went back to our hotel, which is across the street from Pasadena Community College, where Butler went to school. And like, I pretty much finished the script then. And then I put it away, and, you just kind of take a step back for a second. But then as soon as I got home and then just stayed home for however many years now, it was surreal, because it really did feel like, oh, I finished it. And then like there was some portal in Pasadena I went through, and I like, oh, now I'm living in it. That's not great. Yeah, but I mean, like all that to also say, oh, there goes John. All that to also say, I really think that doing that work prior to the pandemic in some ways helped me make it through lockdown and stuff a little bit better. Not like I was doing great or anything, but definitely the fact that like knowing this isn't an unprecedented thing, knowing that this is something plenty of people have, sort of at least thought through before. There's something weirdly empowering in that, even though it's very depressing, but there's at least something there to hold on to.
I think a lot of Butler's work is like that. Like, I think she takes us through the mud intentionally, just to,
Oh yeah.
to inspire us. I mean, it's kind of messed up in some ways, but I think it's intentional. And I felt that with the graphic novels as well. Like, even though it is heavy, and I'll never ever not say that about Butler, but it was so inspiring. So inspiring. Like, what you guys have done. The story itself is incredibly inspiring. So, sorry.
That's awesome.
No, yeah. John, is Jackson going crazy over there? What's up?
Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, because my nephew, my babysitter was like, "Hey, I'll be right back." I'm like, "Oh my God, no!" So now I'm like, I had to change location. Yeah, that's what it said. Oh no! So I'm like, he's like running over there somewhere. So I'm like, anyway, was I supposed to answer something? I'm sorry. I was listening, but I was like,
Yeah, the question was, how was that for you adapting the Parable of the Talents graphic novel amidst like the perils of the pandemic?
Oh yeah, it's harrowing. Yes, purely harrowing. Just like Damian was saying, it's like, yeah, I went to go live in it. That's exactly what happened. I mean, it's so many parallels, of course, because she was extremely prescient because of the amount of research she did, and there was like a lot of horrible things happening, and it was extremely stressful. There were a lot of like family related incidents and stuff that happened during that point, and the loss of friends, that made it very difficult to focus, and it took us longer, than that too. The other thing that happened too was like in the middle of that, I founded Megascope at the same time. So that actually was another weight of trying to build an imprint in the middle of a pandemic, which I do not recommend, by the way. Don't do it. I wasn't trying to show off or anything. It was just crazy. So yeah, and that's how we ended up working with David, because I was like, I need help. Because me and Damian often joke like, we keep doing like longer and longer adaptation and like books and stuff, right? So it's like, yeah. So it's kind of, it spiraled out of control. So yeah, it was difficult on a lot of different levels. There's a lot of trauma. I don't think that, and David can speak to this too, is like the level of like trying to visualize that type of pain, and beauty too, to a certain degree too, to make it something that's aesthetically pleasing, but also like telling the story, So yeah, it was a lot. So
How about you,
Yeah.
David?
I mean, I guess for me it was a little different than you guys. I mean, I live in a town of like less than 5,000 people, and like it's pretty remote out here. And it's like I mean, I'm in a red state, like a deep red state. So like, um, the rules were very lax. So I didn't experience the pandemic, and the lockdown the way that everybody in the 48 did. And So for me it was like pretty great because everybody was out of the way. Like it was just like quiet, and got time to work. Like I had all the time in the world, and like it was just me and my daughter hanging out because like it was they she was in she wasn't in school, so she was like doing stuff online. So we just hung out, watched anime, and I made comics, and then I would go ski. So I had a great time. I don't know what you guys are doing. And like there was this part, and I was like, I'm already there. There's a part in Talents where like Lauren goes to Alaska, and I'm like, I got all the visual reference right here, and I would just go outside. Nobody's around. And I live in a beach town too, so like I would just go down to the beach and um hang out, check out the mountains, and make art, walk with my dogs and my daughter, and uh, had a good time. So yeah, that was my pandemic experience.
Listen,
You are
David has
living
the
life,
absolute best pandemic take
right?
I've ever heard.
yeah, he was like, I was making comics and playing with my
Yeah,
dogs.
And
I was
yeah,
watching
like,
but
anime.
Oh,
Well, that's
we did
why.
have like we did have conversations about I actually called him and I was like, hey, I don't know like how I'm going to. I don't know how you can tastefully draw sexual assault, right? Like I don't
yeah.
know how to make that, especially being like a man, right? And that is so yeah, we had conversations, and that was probably the most difficult thing for me to deal with and to um, kind of visualize, because you as a cartoonist, you are somewhat of an actor, so you kind of have to
Mhm.
emote with your characters so that you can actually draw and create um, accurate account of what's going on. So having to go through that was definitely emotionally troubling, but everything else was pretty fantastic.
I love that
I
you were
mean,
able to find that type of balance, David.
right. But I mean, you guys handled those heavy scenes really, really well, especially the sexual assault. Because there were times in the comic where I was like, oh, this was drawn. Okay. Let me sit with that for a little
Yeah,
Yeah.
heavy. Yeah, it's
bit.
heavy.
But it was done, like you said, like it's weird to say tasteful in such a situation, but it was done. It was handled really well. So just thank
Okay,
you for
thank you.
that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yes.
like it's always us trying to have the same effect. We interpret Butler's prose trying to have. So what we collectively decide to show or not show is really just like what will have the same impact as if you were just reading the novel, I think.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like our North Star for it.
Yeah, I think it was very tastefully done. If you had removed a lot of stuff, you wouldn't have been doing the story justice, if that's the right
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
When we were reading the series together as a book club, reading all of Butler's books, really, we learned very quickly we needed to give each other space and breaks in between the books. But the overall arching theme that we kept seeing with Butler's work is that it seems like her goal was always to show humans the worst side of themselves in a way that you couldn't look away. So if you guys had like veered away from that in the graphic novels, then you wouldn't have been staying true to her story. So I agree with Keisha. It was tastefully as possible done to still convey that depth of emotion that was expressed in the original story. So hats off to you guys for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And to speak to that, it's one of the reasons why I love Butler and I love what you guys have done with it, is that she does take taboo and she forces you to just shed everything you know about society and decide for yourself what is right and what is wrong. So like, yes, I'm gonna keep saying it. Y'all did fantastic job with these books. Y'all did it's just, guys, please go get these books. Please.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So much work. I can't even.
It's so weird because I got an advanced copy in the mail.
Yep.
And like,
Show it.
What?
it's been
Yeah.
like 5 years since I finished the script. So like, there were times where like I'm not gonna make it to see the book. Like, in the hold.
No, y'all can't think that way. Butler has what? The first one came out in 93. The second one came out in 98. She put 5 years between them. Y'all on
Oh, so
track.
good. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
Schedule.
Y'all on schedule.
oh
like-
man, thank you, Blurred Librarian.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Very well done. Yeah, David, yours is already yours is on the way, bro. I got mine too. So I was like, yo, did y'all send it?
Excellent.
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, I've literally told other people. I mean, I was like, I think Damian got his already. Like people that you guys don't know, and I'm just like, I want my book.
You know, that's
To
how
be fair, I think this was supposed to be John's because there was a
yeah,
note
I
in
got
it.
yours. I got
You
yours.
got mine? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. Yeah, it was. I think somebody mixed them up. Yeah, because I got Damian's. Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to
Tell
send you the note? It just says it's like a little. Never mind.
Yeah, it's like a little bookmark, but yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but the
So-
Take a
photos
picture
were
of each other's notes and text it. That way
Right.
you still have it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's so cool though. Yeah, we
right.
we're already pre-ordered over here. We just have to figure out what we're gonna have to do to get all of you guys to sign our copies. You know.
I
Maybe you could
am
do like
not
a,
ashamed of sending my copy to everyone.
Yeah. Me and Keisha talked about this. We're like, if we send it to them with the pre-stamped envelope enclosed, all they have to do is put it back in the mail. It could be like a sisterhood of the traveling pants situation.
that could work, but there's also like you could do a book plate as well. You know.
We're snooty. We
believe-
want you to sign the actual book.
Yeah,
I'm spoiled
well,
now.
Because I think
Y'all-
we're doing book plates for Sister Sci-Fi.
Ah,
Yeah, so for everyone
Yeah.
else, you know, but
For
me,
everyone else, of course.
Yeah.
John has spoiled me because I had the pleasure of meeting
that's
him.
why I want
show that. It's so
mine.
special. Don't show that.
I had to because I had to just pop my shit a little bit. Now
Okay.
now I
That's why I
can't
want my
not
sign.
have the same thing in my next book. And
Oh, here
now
we go.
I'm just determined that David has to like scribble in something too. So yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, you would pay that shipping. It's on.
Oh, I will. I know it's about to be
David. I'm sending
Yes.
After the Rain. Yeah, y'all. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
you know,
send
it's no,
So
but
no.
it'd probably be cheaper for us to just hop on the flight low key. But
That's crazy.
my bad, Keisha, you get
Oh,
into
y'all-
the next question.
Y'all trying to get on planes right now?
Listen, I need this. I need this what is it? Snowboarding lesson ASAP.
Ah, yes. You were more than welcome. Man.
Yes,
Y'all silly.
All
The
right.
mountain.
we are. It won't stop.
All right, let's get into the next question. So, yes, we talked about how heavy this book is, but we also know it's incredibly inspiring. But what was your biggest takeaway from Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents? And what do you want readers to take away from these graphic novels when they read them?
That is so hard.
It's really big. I mean, like one takeaway is just what Lauren pretty much blatantly says at the end of Talents, or if you want to do something, you just do it. Like you just keep doing it, and if you're persistent, it'll happen. Either you'll die or it'll happen was I think what Lauren said, because she's an optimist. But I mean she is, but anyway. So yeah, the whole and this is like Butler's thing, just put in Lauren's words, but the whole thing about persistent positive obsession,
Mhm.
and using that to move yourself forward. And I think also just in terms of what I want, or I hope people take away from it, I think it is that hard-won hope you get at the end, kind of at the end of both books, but like at different points throughout the books, where even when everything burns down and everything's destroyed, Lauren and Earthseed are still sort of able to rise and continue. So I hope that offers people some comfort in these trying times.
Mm. I really like the practical aspect of Butler really stating like these are portents. This is a parable, like a literal parable about the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made these as warnings, to the future, like for real. I mean, I remember like over the summer when people were freaking out about the first entry was like July 20th, right? And everybody's like, oh my god, this is the first entry, like we're in Parable of the Sower, like in Lauren's diary, and people were like losing it, right?
Yes.
And yeah, and of course there's the one in November 6th where like a president takes over, that kind of stuff. It's it's just so scary. And we're about to go through it because certain people didn't read Octavia Butler. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's if you would just, I mean, she's probably banned in all the red states, probably. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah, low key.
yeah. So so that's what I was thinking is like it's a the practicality of these warnings. I think is something I want people to take away. But also, to speak to what Dr. Duffy was saying is there are things that we can learn and think about hope. There is a kernel of hope in there, and I think that's what Acorn is. That idea of like this really like even though Acorn fell, but the notion of it, like this tough little seed that actually becomes this beautiful tree that spreads throughout the galaxy. It's a beautiful metaphor. And also like the kind of like the how do you say it, like disruption, but also kind of elevation of some of the themes in Parable of the Sower and Parable of Towns, like the actual parables from the Bible. I thought was really interesting too. So there's a lot. It's multiple layers, but I think like the warning, to heed this warning is actually a really powerful message to take from it.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I guess I thought of it as like the spoils of revolution are often not like shared or experienced by the revolutionaries. So you kind of have to like I guess sort of piggybacking on sort of this idea that like they rarely ever have a moment where it's where you're not seeking freedom or liberation or you have to continually work towards this like this goal of freedom, and you have to make sure that it endures. But you often die or you're broken or something happens in you that you don't actually get to feel it, and that's like something you'll see, as you read the book, and as you get towards the end. And I also saw that there's like this enduring sense of beauty, and and the land. There's this like an important focus on the indelible aspects of the natural world and what it can do, what it provides, and how if we could be stewards of like the land and care for it, then it'll protect us, and you'll also see that in the book.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah.
I was gonna say like one of my favorite things was how David's drawings handled like the landscapes and actually like people who've seen some of the pages from talent. So like, yo, this is really like it's has a beautiful starkness to it, but also like the vistas and the hills and the sky. Yeah, it definitely you definitely get that across. And it was honestly in some ways like comforting the color. What I'm saying, because it was drawn that way. So,
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Keisha and I were talking about the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You were gonna mention the comments or what?
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna talk about the art style as well because I noticed something, but I'm not like uh. So forgive me if I use the wrong terms for
no,
that.
Mr.
So it felt like there was a shift, like an intentional shift in style from book one to book two, right? Like in terms of like how the panels were arranged and where like in the first book it seemed a little more traditional, not traditional, but like, it was like the four panels where it's easily read. And then when you shift to the second book, it felt more futuristic, more modern. Like you guys were
Mhm.
playing with the panel. Oh, cool. I feel super smart now. So I guess I wanted to know like what was the reason behind the inspiration behind that shift in style and like how it helped carry the story of the
Mm.
parable of talents.
Well, I was gonna say like um, one of the things to remind people about both of these books is they're both epistolaries. Like they're both cobbled together from the journals and books and different types of media from different narratives. Yeah, Parable of Sower in particular is mostly like Olamina's journal, and then like the second one is a series of recorded histories and things that have been kind of remediated through you know Asha/Larkin's narration and stuff. And so one of the biggest things is like David is a really amazing like layout artist. Like the way he does paneling is very different than what I do, and I've learned a lot from him because of that too. And then one of the big shifts too, and this is something that Damian was talking about in the drawing, was that I wanted to show a cooler palette too. That's the other thing too, as far as like because it's being mediated through an electronic means. You know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. So that actually kind of speaks to like more floating panels, more things that are interacting with each other differently. And that's why you would see sometimes the grid structure. If you notice some of the panels, there's some like grids in the inking and stuff, because we're trying to remind you that this is a remediation of a memory, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of it was definitely, I mean, we don't, when we come to like understanding like the how the page works as a storytelling mechanism, we don't leave a stone unturned usually as a creative endeavor. So yeah, so good eye.
Yeah,
Nick Barry.
I was just gonna say, going along with that, a lot of times I find working on the scripts, like starting with the formal qualities, starting with the layout, is a helpful way to get through some of the most difficult scenes, like the concentration camp that takes up like the middle portion of the book.
That's brilliant.
So like, yeah, in the script, which like if you're writing comics, like don't do this, because usually artists don't want you to like lay out all this crazy stuff for them. But in this particular case, it was just like so like, I don't know, it was the only way I could get through it. So I turned everything in that sequence into like reading across 2-page spreads as a way to sort of communicate the difference in how things have just changed in the story. Anyway, all of which is to say, like, sometimes it is those formal aspects that like I need to hold on to not sort of get lost in some of the darker moments.
That's fine. We don't have
Yeah.
to like belabor it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, David. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I just got really good direction. I mean, like, and they also kind of let me go ham if I want to. They're just like, yeah, just make it look cool, and I'm like,
Nice.
okay, I can make things look cool, and
You did.
and that's
Yeah.
usually like that's like it's a huge weight off of your shoulders as a creative when you don't have you know lots of other people deciding how you can tell a story,
Mm.
especially if you are very good at telling stories, and I think all three of us are excellent at
Yes.
that.
I was going to say, in the process of inking and finishing the book, we had to be very clever and understand like the tools very well. And when I started looking at what Damian did with the layouts, it actually inspired the creative team to actually just start working two up, in spreads, because it actually sped up the process so fast, so quickly, that in the middle of the book, we just started working in spreads, and coloring in spreads. So what I love about it is like all of us actually came up with these really innovative ways to actually like still make something that we felt proud of, but really, really kind of hammer home like getting it done. It was funny because I think like the publisher was surprised that we finished it. They were like, "Wait, what? It's done? What do you mean it's finished?"
That's what happens when you put the dream team together. Period.
Crazy. Yeah, they were still asking us like, "Wait, did you finish the book?" I was like, "Yes, in the summer. Yes, done. It should be at the printer actually."
Period. Wait, I have to interject for a hot second because Keisha finished because we both got sent PDFs of talents, and Keisha finished hers ahead of me, and we had this like cute little meeting so we could make sense of all of our fangirling amid the questions. And I'm low-key bummed right now because Keisha was legit waxing poetic about the difference in transition of art styles and panels and things like that from the first book to the second book. And I'm over here just going like, yeah, girl, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, because I hadn't had the opportunity to read Talents yet. I've read it now, and as I was reading, I was just like, oh, that's what the F she was talking about. Like, this is crazy right now. But like, I guess it's kind of hard to put into words, but I want to just reiterate that y'all really did your big one in terms of bringing this to the page in such a way that the depth of emotion and the tone and the spirit of like some semblance of hope is still carried through the artwork. Like saying it out loud is like, how, you know what I'm saying? Like if someone had been like, yeah, this, I want you to do this, I wouldn't have even known where to begin. So like, I can't stress enough how insane it is that you guys not only did this, but you did it in such a way that it feels true to Butler's work, and that it was still mind-blowing for us to read, even though we had already read the novels. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, thank you. That's a
I'm
great
so glad.
compliment. Thank you.
It
Yeah.
really
That's
is.
an incredible compliment.
No, seriously, I'm glad we're recording this because I can play it to my wife and be like,
Yeah.
"See, people actually like what I'm doing." You see?
I love it. We agreed we wouldn't fangirl too much, but I needed to just reiterate that because Keisha like picked up on that immediately, and she was like going ham like for a hot minute about this when we were supposed to be making up questions, and I was like, this is so beautiful. I should have recorded that then because y'all are getting like the cute, composed, elegant version of
I am
how
quiet right now
I'm a
because
fan of ham.
I'm
Go
gonna
ham.
embarrass myself. So,
Because it's the thing is about this and the guys can speak to this too. There's even though we're working as a creative team, I mean we're in support of each other. It's isolating. I mean, working on comics is very isolating. It's like you and the story, and a lot of times you're working in either super early in the morning or late at night, and the world is quiet, and it's just you wrestling with the lines and the page, and so we really I'm gonna speak for y'all. We really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Because we
You
work
can't
really
speak for no. That's true. I agree.
what kind of messed up blah 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 blah? Don't you say good things in my honor? Blah. Anyway, sorry.
and you called us silly. We're all in this together.
We're very.
No.
That's the only way to make it through. I feel like.
Yeah. We have gallows. We have a couple of gallows for the gallows humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. All right. So, are we getting any more Butler adaptations or any other adaptations possibly?
Before you say it, we both agreed that y'all would go crazy on a Nalo Hopkins adaptation. Get the dream team together and a Falling in Love with Hominids graphic adaptation.
That'd be cool.
would be bananas.
but those are short stories.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Short stories are, we've learned, are sometimes a hard sell.
Oh, that's fair.
Unless
Okay.
they're like solid, unless they're like, well, you know, taking a short story and turning it into something like After the Rain, it worked out, you know. But it's just like the collections. We're still trying to work through that. I don't know. I mean, for me, like, well, just so you know, me and Nalo are working on a book already. Actually, Damian, we haven't asked you yet. We would love for you to letter that, but you know, whenever we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I will letter that.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here.
it's kind of like
Right.
it's in flux right now, but we're still working on it. It's like me and Stephen Bissett, who
Right.
co-created Constantine, are the artist, and Nalo is the writer. So, and we're working on that now. So, you know, not gonna say like no, but I think it depends on sales. You know,
That's fair.
so yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's what drives it. It's like, you know, so maybe.
So that means everybody that is watching, because we have quite a few people watching. Y'all need to go ahead, pre-order, because pre-orders are big. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please go pre-order, buy them. Sister Sci-Fi, y'all heard it, all right?
But I was gonna say, but as far as like all projects, I mean, all of us we're working on other things, all of us together.
Oh,
and
well, give us the tea then. We already got one Pink Riot exclusive. Let us know.
I mean, you know,
I can say, I think John and I have talked about our preference if we do another Butler adaptation would be Wild Seed. We don't know anything about anything, but that's just like us talking.
Yeah, that would probably be. That's my favorite story of hers, actually, just as a standalone. Wild Seed, I think, is that's my first book I read of hers, and it blew me away. So I think it would lend itself extremely well to graphic, you know, stuff. And then, but also, you know, me and David are, you know, thinking about Henry Dumas, doing some Henry Dumas adaptations too. So, you know, like I said, the three of us together and separate are working on a bunch of stuff right now. So some things.
Well, don't be cute now, John. What else can you say?
Can we say the thing we're working
why
on?
not? Why not? Go ahead. I don't care.
Can't,
what they gonna do? What they
care?
gonna do?
I don't think anyone cares, right?
Who's gonna check you, Damian?
It's a good point, actually. They don't pay me enough for me to keep their secrets.
I know, right?
That's not bad. John and I are working on a Daredevil story for Abrams Marvel Arts. Shut up. Alex Ross's line with Abrams.
Shut your face right now, Damian.
Yeah, Daredevil was my favorite superhero too. So I'm like, I can't wait to and you know, so that's moving along. And then David just finished like doing the drawings for like our second Blue Hand Mojo story too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Nope, not gonna stop it. Jackson, don't stop that. Don't do it. All right, hold on. Stop. Don't do it.
Jackson.
Hold on a second.
Yeah. Also, through Rosarian Publishing, they're putting out this Lion Man collection, which I believe includes that I wrote and lettered, and David drew and John colored this Phantoma story. That's in there, right, John?
It is.
It's going to Lion Man. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys did like other Lion Man stuff, but that's the one that I wrote that's in there.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that Lion Man. You have no
that's going to be a Kickstarter. I think he has.
Yeah, they're going to do like a Kickstarter back to kit kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm working on a layout now for that. So
it's still coming out in May of this year. Like, you know, it's one of my anticipated because I know that Yvette Lucinda Lobo is on there as well. Like, yep. I'm so
we just finished colors on that. And David again broke his ankle off in that, you know. Yep, it's exciting. But then, you know, like I said, we're playing. There's stuff that are, you know, that we are just cobbling our way on to. Damian and I've been making some more demented things, and you know, yep. But right now, we're just trying. You know, we're waiting on feedback from Damian's script on Daredevil right now.
Nice.
And I think it's a great. I think it's a great script. So,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, he did. He did.
I did write it R-rated, and it's probably not going to be R-rated, so that gave them something to edit down.
Yeah, they're not going to let that happen. But yeah. So that's I don't want to get into too much because some stuff is
Understood.
Yeah,
you
that's fair. I appreciate you sharing what you could.
Yes. All right, so I guess right now we'll go into the comments and see if anybody has any questions. If you do, put them in the chat. I can see all 3 chats. So if you have a question, that's what I've been doing. I've been like, I have this whole little setup right here. So if anyone has a question, put it in the chats and we will ask. All right. So let's get down to it. All right. The first one I believe is right here. LT. Do you all think that Parable of the Talents is already ahead of the schedule that Butler predicted? Jared and his Christian American fundamentalist movement was elected January 20th, 2033.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's not a checklist, like it's not a one-to-one thing, I suppose.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Like my most sort of cynical thing about Jarrett is I'm pretty sure he was a single-term president in Talents.
Yeah.
And Butler was thinking that people would be smart enough to realize when someone's incompetent and should not be in office. So
apparently we're not.
Yeah.
Hey, some people aren't.
I mean, some people are.
I mean, as a collective, we we all did what we needed to do, but you can't speak for everybody.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's one sort of difference, I think, from the books and reality. And also like the fundamentalist Christian aspect. I mean, it's definitely, of course, there. But it's a little bit different now, like in reality, than it was in the writing of it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And in some ways, even like less religious and more just hyper consumerism than I think even Butler was ready to imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole Christian nationalist piece is really this hyper capitalist. The cross is a logo for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a brand. But anyway, yeah. But I wouldn't say that like Damian said, it's not one for one. But definitely there's elements. Jackson, no, sorry.
I love that he's not a part of the interview, but he totally is, and he's making it better for me.
I knew that was going to happen.
He likes flipping this. He has this chair, and he likes to keep flipping it, and I think it's dangerous. He does not agree.
At least you're not one of those dads who's like "but did you die" type of style of parenting.
No, I'm not quite there yet. So.
That's it.
All right, next question. Let's see. Do I have anything okay. Next one's from LT. Hey, LT. Could you see the Parables as an animated show of some sort?
Sure.
What do you think, David?
I mean, absolutely. I think the cinematic qualities alone, there's lots of action moments, there's lots of catharsis, there's I mean, I think if we can get shows like
Don't say it.
Are Not Rain.
You about to say Scavenger's Reign?
Yeah, Scavenger's Reign. If we get shows like then I think it would, that same kind of treatment, I think, would work really well for the Parable.
I agree. I was hoping you say that actually, because because there's a burgeoning market for adult animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for instance, Scavenger's Reign, even though they only got one season, it's masterful. But also stuff like Castlevania, of course. And
I started watching Pantheon on Netflix, and that one is getting a second season.
Oh, cool!
I really recommend it. That one.
Yeah, you told me about Pantheon. I need to check that out.
Yeah,
and also
is that the one that Ken Liu was part of?
Yes, it's based on his short stories. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There's also an upcoming animated series based on witches by Scott Snyder from the same producers as Castlevania for Amazon. That's coming up soon too. So,
Yes.
you know, I think so. Yeah, short answer is yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. This one is on Instagram, and unfortunately, with our streaming service, we cannot post it. But Ajira says, "What from either Sower or talent?"
I'm sorry.
It's all good. What from either Sower or talents do you wish you could have included or gone into more detail in adaptations?
That's a good question.
For Sower, I'm sorry, Jackson. What did I leave out? What did we leave out? Okay. For Sower, at the end, when they meet a bunch of new families who end up in talents, but there's like a whole backstory about how sort of wage slavery is working in the world of the parables, and sort of the different types of using poverty to make people legal slaves. Like a lot of that I really wanted to get in, but it's like 14 new characters in like the last 50 pages of the book, so I couldn't really. But you know, I tried to give those characters, well, they're the characters Butler wrote with some moments and talent, so you know, I tried to emphasize them, like Gray Mora and those families and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, David, what you thinking?
I mean, I don't write the scripts. I just draw what is given to me, and if people want to give me more pages to draw, I will happily make them look great. So, like, I mean, I guess for me, sometimes I wish there wasn't such a formulaic approach to how a book is supposed to be a book. But I mean, the industry sort of has standards, and I think most humans have an expectation of what a book is supposed to be. And I think, well, like we're a lot more creative than just probably one of the greatest inventions of all time. Everybody loves books, but like it can look different, or it can have different methods of how we can interact with it as a tome of information and beauty. So like that's all I just want to like play more around with like creating sort of specific, unique, sort of timeless pieces of artwork that is also about its physicality and its tactileness, and not just the information and its didactic qualities that it carries.
Listen, I am here for this 100%, David. It sounds like y'all's next like big project would be fire if it was like an art installation style situation, and instead of like word bubbles, you had like floating things or like screens that changed the words, and you had to like walk through to read the story. Does that sound like more on par with what you have envisioned?
Yeah, I'm actually like an installation artist as well, so I do gallery work. Like I do like I mean, I just had a big show with Lyman and stuff like that at the Anchorage Museum, and it was up there for like a year. But like it was like we turned the whole gallery, the sort of labyrinthian space, into like a living comic. So you're walking through like giant size, Lion Man images and stuff like that. Like I think we used vinyl stickers for this one. Budget is always a limitation, so we use stickers instead of like building massive dioramas and stuff like that. But we still had like a 15-foot tall Lion Man, and every inch of it was covered in like just storytelling and comics and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
some pictures of that, man.
Like, I'm so bummed that I missed it.
I'm like, can you send us some pictures of it? I'm like, what the hell?
Let me see pictures
it's
of
on
that.
the Anchorage Museum website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Leave it to
Oh,
the
okay.
blurred librarian. She was like, I may not
Thank
have
you,
been
blurred
there physically,
librarian.
but I got
Man,
every
you,
picture I could find. Yes.
you are not playing. She actually is a blurred librarian. Okay.
She actually is. It's the best thing because I'm just
Yeah.
here for vibes, and she'll be like, that's actually a real thing.
Oh, what? That's wild.
That's so cool.
Oh,
More of that. We love to hear
yes.
this, David. More of that. Next
Yeah.
time we'll have to like make a plan for Pink Riot to like actually physically attend. Because I feel like a virtual, like a video walkthrough, you know how they do like those 360 tours of like hotels? Somebody should have set up a 360 tour of that experience so that
Yeah.
people could still see it even after the exhibit was done.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that, and once again, like the money gets in the way of like your great ideas. It's funding is always the limitation. It seems.
Listen, one of
It
my
is.
friends says capitalism doesn't care about your creativity. I've never felt that so hard in my life. But alas, that still sounds really freaking cool.
Next question. Oh, is there a question you wish you could ask Octavia Butler that would help with your work?
Oh, wow. I love that question.
Is that Amani Latif of Black Comics Universe down there?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, man.
People come here and ask us some like profoundly hard. I'm just kidding. Oh,
Oh,
The
like, I
obvious
would be
question is
scared.
to like show her the book and go, "Do you like it?"
See, I would
I
be
don't. I
terrified.
don't ever. I don't. That would be terrifying. I think I would just turn into. I would just like fold inside like a shoop and just.
Yeah.
I would not want. I would not want that.
Effect is crazy.
Shoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not want that to happen.
Oh
But,
no. Okay,
no,
my bad for
I
saying
mean, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I have nightmares.
It's like if you ever watch Community, there's this thing where Donald Glover never wanted to meet LeVar Burton. He just wanted an autographed picture of LeVar
Yes.
Burton. That's how I feel about this.
Oh,
Like,
never meet your
yeah.
heroes. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah,
just because I would be an idiot and be like, I love your work. Yeah, okay, bye.
You mean like us right now? Okay.
No, y'all were cool.
Exactly,
No,
bro.
yeah, no, it's yeah. Anyway, oh man, that's hard. I don't know. I mean, I can't come up with anything right now. You know what I'm saying? As far as like something direct. I mean, maybe some more visual stuff. Like, because I know we did use some of her sketches, like for instance, for the community in Acorn, for instance. Damian found online an actual map of the community that we actually replicated for the book. That was cool.
Because I had written, to have a map of it, and I was like, I'm sure there's some nerd online who's made this, and it turned out there was, and it was Octavia.
It was
Butler.
Octavia.
He
Exactly.
was that nerd. Like
It was
me.
that nerd. Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would have particular questions. I don't know how that would change the process too. I mean, she's already like given us so much too, and she is our other collaborator, obviously too. So yeah, I don't know. That's like an anti-answer though, isn't it? I'm sorry, David.
Yeah, it's not a.
But we'll allow it this time. The obvious question is, what did you intend for book 3? Because I understand this wasn't meant to be a duology.
What did we intend for book 3?
Or what did Butler intend, right?
Yeah, that would have been my question to
Okay.
her. But I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, where
Yeah.
do you guys think she was going with book 3?
Well, she like took several like runs at it, and each one was relatively different from what I haven't read them. I've just read about them, but from what I understand, it took place like 1,000 years or something after book 2.
That sounds like Butler.
Yeah, so it's like an Earthseed spaceship like trying to colonize a world. And I know there was one where the world, like the air made everyone go blind or something. So it would have been, horrific, but awesome. I don't think she had it. I don't think she had it really nailed down past that general idea, from what I understand.
Yeah, and people have asked us, like, would we ever do that? And we were like, well, if she didn't feel that it was strong enough to put out, then I think we'd be beyond our it would be beyond our purview and rights to do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another political answer, John. You're fired.
Wait, what? God, this is keep losing jobs, man. I'm not even, what the heck is this DEI nonsense?
Oh my
Wow.
What the DEI? Sorry.
That was perfect. This is
Right.
what we love you, John. Don't ever change.
I think I can't even. I'm not like I can't do it.
The only lasting truth is change, John. So
Man, this is
Mm.
such
Way to
baloney.
bring it back, Damian.
That baloney,
Drops the mic. Period.
man.
That was
Change
so
this,
solid.
baby. Anyway, sorry.
All right. I think this was gonna. I think one more question here, and then
And then I have
we're gonna
one more
wrap up.
question.
All right.
Yes.
So I guess this one is a continuation of that question. But how helpful were her papers in the process?
we didn't really use too much other than that map of Acorn that was online. I think that was
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I think in some ways, like it was more affirmation, of things because like the first time, and this is not for talents, but it was for Kindred. Like the first time we spoke at the Huntington, and they had like different variations of Kindred on the table, and also like materials that she had used to kind of write Kindred, what have you. And we were just taking a tour of it, and there was these two pictures in a manila folder, and it was models from one was like it was like a Marlboro ad or something like something like that.
Yeah, I think there
And
was a magazine.
Yeah, and so when we saw the magazine pictures, we immediately recognized that that's what she used to think about like Kevin and Dana. So in some ways for me, the papers have affirmed that we were on the right track and that we were listening to her voice intently. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. Okay.
Yeah, the pictures look so much like John's drawings. It was
crazy. I was like, oh, that's them. It was almost like I had like did a cartoon of those particular people. I was like, whoa.
Nice.
That's awesome. I bet that had to feel amazing. Like, yeah, I'm doing it. We on track.
Well, yeah. So I mean, one of the things
Well-
that we totally bent ourselves out of shape to do is like, and is to try to listen to as much direction as Octavia gave us. You know what I'm saying? So
I was going to say we did use a lot in our talks about Kindred, the kind of famous back of one of her notebooks where she wrote like, I will be a best-selling author. I will, start a scholarship for like Black writer. Like she had a whole list of things she was going to do.
Mhm.
So we had used that in the talk a lot, and then we saw it in person, and that had an odd, I don't know, not like a religious experience, but definitely like a feeling like a connection, a deeper connection than just, oh, I read your stuff. You know what I mean?
It was like being that artifact was very moving. And it's funny because I met a sister out of the Bay Area. I can't think of her name right now. She actually had "So Be It, See to It" tattooed in her handwriting. So what she did is she actually took that from the tablet and she turned it into a tattoo, and it was on her arm. "So Be It, See to It." I was like, oh, I recognized it immediately. I said, that's Octavia Butler's like writing. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty cool.
That's so dope.
Yeah, it's dope.
Oh, man,
Okay,
that's
and my
giving-
last question is, so Nalo did the like forward for Sower, and she mentioned an Octavia Butler quote. She described herself as a pessimist if I'm not careful. And that like really hit me. And I was just curious, like, what is your way, or what is your approach, or what is something you do for yourself to be careful in that way to prevent yourself from potentially being a pessimist? Because I think that's really important, especially in our current climate.
I mean, I jump off mountains onto pieces of wood.
I knew you were gonna say that. Didn't I tell you? I was like,
So real
I
fast.
jump off the mountains.
I try to. Well, I mean, the point is that I try to stay playful. I'm a playful dude, and so I try to not necessarily keep myself childlike, but like, I play as much as I can, and I think that keeps me from going to the dark place.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if I have kept myself from being a pessimist, because I wake up in the morning, I'm like, today I won't be, and then like 5 minutes later, it's like, why'd I look at the news?
But
But
oh my god.
I mean, like, one thing, I had to mostly stay off social media. So if anyone follows me on Facebook or Instagram, you might notice I never post anything. And that was during writing Sower, where it's like, this is supposed to be fiction, but I can see that it's documentary.
Yeah.
So because of that, I've stayed the hell off social media for the most part, which not great for promotion, but mental health, that helps. And then, I don't know. So I'm an adjunct lecturer, so I only teach one class, but it's an undergrad class. And I think some of the kind of optimism and hopefulness of these like 20, well, not even 20, like 18, 19-year-olds that I talk to, that sometimes is helpful, as a source of optimism, kind of outsourcing optimism to the young.
Yes, I love that. Outsourcing optimism. Wait, what is the class that you teach?
Oh, it's called Computers and Culture. It's in the Information Science school where I got my PhD. But it's like a survey of how cultural histories of personal computers and the internet and how they impact like art, education, politics, stuff like that. Like each week's a different topic. So we talk about like cyberpunk fiction, talk about WikiLeaks in 1 week. So stuff like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Damian has, his PhD in library and information science.
History.
Just so you know. For me, I can't really be so. I do have a tendency to be in my head and stuff, and my family won't allow it. Obviously, right?
Yes.
I mean, between like Tawana and Jackson, and then Alex, I'm always doing other stuff. So it's like, even when I am feeling down or whatever, I can't, I can't just focus on what's in my head. I'm always, getting pulled out of a funk, because you got to be hopeful when you're raising a little rambunctious kid, isn't that right, Jackson? He's over there. Stop. Hey, don't.
Jackson is a star.
Yes,
don't do that.
a whole icon. So you have a beautiful village. That's awesome.
Right?
It's a village I wish would listen to me more. How about that?
That will keep you young, that he doesn't always listen.
I don't know if that's
If it helps, he will not ever listen to me more.
Because I need data on that, because I feel the opposite. I feel like a heart attack is about to happen at any second. I know none about your buttons. He's talking about some Pete the Cat right now. I'm like, come on.
Oh, Pete the Cat is
Oh,
actually
Dog Man. My kid loves Dog Man.
Yeah, Pete the Cat is like, Dan with like Miles Morales and Spider-Man. It's all about Pete the Cat.
Pete the Cat is smooth with it, with the red sneakers.
Yeah,
Please.
I know.
Please.
With ADHD, come on.
Okay.
Prime example, keeping you young. The fact that you even know about Pete the Cat. I rest my case.
I know how not to argue with black women, so I'm not going to even.
As long as you know.
That's how I got this old. Yeah.
Yes, we would love to see it. Okay, so now we want to make sure we're being respectful of you guys' time, but now is the time where we want you to tell us where we could find you. Tell us where we could find your work. Where are you going to be if you're touring? Where can we buy all of your art and books and all of the things? We like to call it like the shameless plug time. So just give us all the tea on what's going on with you and where people can throw their money at your work.
Oh.
Right? That sounded.
I know.
Well,
so I'll go. I don't have a ton. My website is just my name.net, because this Irish photographer guy has the .com, and I'm bitter about it. No, it's
as you should be.
But yeah, it's .net. As Amani Latif in the chat I just saw said, Rosarium has this Lion Man Kickstarter that's going to be starting up pretty soon. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, like my website has links to all of the books I've worked on, which are mostly books I've worked on with John. And like I'm on Facebook and Instagram technically, but not super active. Like if you message me on there, I will get back to you, but mostly I'm just like hiding from Nazis, I guess, online. Not hiding, but you know what I mean? Just like blocking it.
Protecting your peace, Damian. We support you in that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And then I guess that's thank you to everyone who's pre-ordered Talents already, because I saw some people in the chat. Thank you so much. And also I just wanted to, this is not really a plug, but I just want to say thank you to John and David for like us coming together and getting this done, because I felt a weight lift when I got the book. Like
it was like,
I've been waiting for so long. And
You're
then also
sound biting that,
right?
And then also just like thank you all so much for having us on the show. Thank you for everybody tuning in. And like I guess to speak for all of us, but definitely I do not take for granted how lucky I am to be part of this and to be there and to be able to help, you know, shepherd Octavia Butler's legacy into the future, I guess.
I don't know how to follow that.
All the Megascope. Talk up the Megascope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yep. So like Damian,
real quick, sorry, by the way, I meant to mention I lettered after the rain.
Yeah.
I was just putting that out there.
Yeah, you did. And I meant to mention the other thing too is I'm uncredited colorist on that book, by the way. So just so you know.
Hold on, what's that about? Run me my credit.
I think that is just forgetting that I colored it and then not get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not me, but you know.
Dang, that's crazy.
I know, right? They were like,
you don't know, now you know.
Right. So you can find I'm at johnjenningsstudio.com, and you again, like Damian, you can find all of the links to things and you know, some news stuff.
We're gonna put them in the descriptions.
There you go. And I'm on Instagram quite a bit. Lately I've been rage posting and you know a little bit. I'm kind of moving out of that phase and going into some
He'll be back.
right now I'm like, you know, try to, you know, I'm on TikTok a little bit, you know, and I'm on Blue Sky as well. And yeah, and then stuff that I'm doing coming up. I mean, I am doing some travel soon. I'm going to be speaking at the University of Oregon on the 17th. I'm doing a talk at Laguna Beach Art School. Jackson, stop it. Sorry.
You said right? I didn't do it.
I said no, if you know, you would, because I always think
I would do it if I was there.
And then yeah, I'm doing Atlantic Comic Con and also Motor City Con and Multiversity. Is it Multiverse Con? So yeah, but later on, you know what I'm saying? It's like not right now, but it's about to get hectic. I haven't been traveling. I've been working on books and things, but you know, little appearances here or there. So but not a bunch. So
okay, yeah. You can find me. I'm everywhere on the internet as like Amazing David or The Amazing David or Amazing David Brame is where you'll find me. You can just like Google that, and I'm usually the first one. Yeah, I'm usually on Instagram and Facebook, Blue Sky, all that kind of stuff. You can pick up my most recent book. It's called Safe Passage. We've been getting lots of little mini awards and getting added to a lot of great book lists, and it's a really great YA book about some young kids in Chicago who go on an adventure through the South Side for a big bag of money. And you know, they gotta fight off the gangs and the cops and everything. So it's written by Greg Neary, and it's wonderful. So pick that up. Also, yeah, Lion Man Backer Kid is up right now, and just finished a book it's called Hammer. It's a post-apocalyptic sword and sorcery book. So if you it's like if you like Berserk, and you also like the John Henry, then this is like a book you're gonna want to pick up. So it fits into that world, and it's that's written by Greg Anderson Elise. If you know who he is, the creator of Isnana, the Were Spider. And we're collecting a bunch of the Isnana books. So I also have work in there with new covers and all new stuff. So look for those like Kickstarters to pop off. So Hammer and the Isnana, the Were Spider collection. So plus all the stuff I'm working with John, Blue Hand Mojo. We got some Dumas stuff. We got some other things just like cooking. And I'm also happy that I got to meet these guys and got to talk to you all today. That's like super wonderful.
Yeah, I really am grateful for your support and ardent support of not only our work, but just like the diverse voices in the speculative world. But I love it. I wish that there were, y'all are one in a million, but we need more folk.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Fix it.
Mommy just came home.
Period. And now it's handled.
Not really, but
Fix that shit. Don't cover your ears. Get up and fix it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Did y'all hear all that? Okay.
Yes,
You put it down.
you forgot to mention the ODB anthology. We were screaming about it on the internet.
Don't say it to me.
I am like a huge Wu-Tang fan. I have like I have this ski van that I go like camping and stuff in, and it's a Wu-Tang van. I painted it black and yellow, and I really love it. So it was like the job of a lifetime for somebody to hire me to do this ODB book. So yeah, pick up. I think it's called like ODB Legacies or something like that. I probably should name much better, but I just drew it and was just stoked I got to draw the whole dirty. And yeah, go pick that one up, because if you love the Wu-Tang and if you love ODB, even if you don't, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't, pick it up anyways. It's great. And there's some legendary creators in there. So I'm glad you picked that up. Thank you.
Listen, we were pre-ordered and locked in.
We are serious about our collecting over here.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that was it was awesome to get that email. Hey, you want to go draw some ODB? I was like, yeah. I didn't even ask how I was getting paid or anything. I was just like, yes.
You were like, immediately yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about the family sleeping into the
No, we love it. It gives us a fuller picture of the man.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's crazy. Please save me.
No, there's no rescue coming.
There's no escape.
We're all Jackson. If you get a phone call, you also getting a phone call from Jackson. So it's a good time.
We love it. And he is so freaking adorable. So why not? He's well, I just really want to thank you guys again for taking the time to come chat with us and sharing this space and letting us just absorb the epic aura that is your creative ability, and for answering all of our goofy questions. Thank you so much for giving us all of this time. We really appreciate you. And hopefully we'll have you back for some of these other projects that you guys mentioned. And we definitely want to big up and support the upcoming Kickstarter. So let us know when those things drop. Obviously we'll be looking out, but we definitely want to give it as much of Beyonce's internet so it has a chance to be successful, guys. So yeah, I will just continue to fangirl, but thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, y'all.
Thank you
Oh
guys
my
for
goodness.
tuning in. Everybody follow Pink Riot Comic Show on all US platforms. Like, share, follow, subscribe, do all of the things. Make sure that you hurry up and run and go cop your pre-orders of Parable of the Talents graphic adaptation from Sister Sci-Fi. Don't forget to use our code Pink Riot in all caps, one word, so that you can get a discount on that order. I believe the code works for both the Parables
Both of
graphic
them, yeah.
adaptations, so that can save you a little chunk of change. And while you're at it, you might as well get one for you and then a set for somebody you love so that you can read it in community, because that's honestly the best way to digest it. We thank you
Yeah.
for taking the time to kick it with us today and kiki about comics, and we'll be in the same place at the same time, where it's usually Thursdays at 5 p.m. PT, but we switched up the steez a little bit so we could
This
accommodate
is a
these fine
special
gentlemen.
day. It's
So yeah,
February
it's the
1st.
extra. It's a little extra. You got to see us twice this week, but we appreciate you coming through and showing love, and we will see y'all next time. Bye.
Later. I definitely found more. All right. How many variants are there?
11.
Damn. Go ahead. No.